If you're going on a long mountain bike ride, perhaps you're straying far from home or far from your car, then it's a really good idea to have some tools with you, either in a backpack or a saddlebag. So here's my beginner's guide to the most essential tools you should be taking with you on your mountain bike ride. The multi-tool must be the most essential piece you should be taking out, because although you might be tightening your bolts correctly before you leave, if you have an accident, perhaps you drop your bike, then you can knock things like your handlebars and you might need to readjust them. So a multi-tool allows you to make those adjustments out on the trail. Now, if you have a carbon bike, perhaps something like my race bike back here, you may want to use a Torx wrench. So you can actually get pocket style Torx wrench like my Topeak ratchet rocket here, which offers a multi-tool sized torque wrench so that you don't over tighten any bolts and you don't damage any of your carbon parts. If you're running tubeless sealant in your tyres, then it's pretty essential to take out a tubeless repair kit with you, as there may be some holes that the sealant won't seal. Now, what this will consist of is a fork and some strips. So the strips will be like sticky rubber, which will go into the hole, and that will be inserted in with the fork. Now, you can get little kits like this, the PT's Hole Shot, or you might have one already on your multi-tool like this fork here. Now, the benefit of a multi-tool is often that you will get a knife with it too, like this, as it's great to cut off any excess from that insert, just so when you're riding, the ground doesn't pull the insert out and leave you with a hole again. If you're running tubes, it may be that taking a spare tube is the quickest way to get yourself back on the trail rather than using patches. However, even if you're running tubeless, it's a really good idea to have a spare. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but if you damage your rim, for example, and your tyre's no longer seating, then no amount of tyre plugs will repair that situation. So you'll have to use an inner tube. And you can also attach this to your bike with a Velcro strap. And I've actually used a Velcro strap in the past to strap a split sidewall with a tube and get myself back to my vehicle. If you've gone to the effort of bringing a spare tube or a puncture repair kit, then you may as well bring some tyre levers as well. They don't take up much space and they're quite light. And sometimes tyres are just really difficult to get off the rim, especially if it's cold and wet. Now, some multi-tools will have tyre levers on them. However, I will say that if they have metal levers, I would keep them away from carbon rims. I would always use plastic on carbon rims, as they're much more gentle and they won't scratch or crack them. Also, you can get multi-use tools like this Topeak link plier here, which doubles up as a set of tyre levers. However, I will say that personally, I prefer a more traditional style set of levers, as this will have a hook on the back so that you can hook into a spoke to hold the tyre out and then use the second one to lever the rest of the tyre around. So if you're fixing a puncture, or perhaps your pressure has changed during a ride, you're going to need to be thinking about air out on the trail. And there's two ways you can do this. That's with a hand pump or with CO2 cartridges and an inflator. With a hand pump, you get to control the amount of air that you put in, and some of them will come with a gauge as well, so that you know what pressure you are getting in the end. With a CO2 cartridge, it will be a quick shot which will inflate the tyre, but you won't be able to gauge how much air pressure is in there unless you use something like a tyre pressure gauge. These are really good, however, for shocking the tyre onto a rim if you're using tubeless. The the final thing, which I think is quite rare, but I've seen it happen quite a lot, and that's people breaking chains. Now, it's all very well bringing a quick link out with you to repair the chain, but you will need to remove a link in order to put this on. So make sure you bring a chain breaker as well. You can get them on multi-tools like this, which makes things nice and compact, but often a proper chain breaker will give you more leverage. So if you bring in a backpack, I would always take one of those with me. So those are my essential tools to be taking out on a mountain bike ride every time. But if you're one of our regular viewers, let us know down in the comments below, what is it you always take with you on a mountain bike ride, and help out that future GMBN Tech community.